and welcome back to Melinda 5-0. The last time when I did a YouTube video, it was my first time doing a YouTube video, so you gotta bear with me because I've never done this before. With that said, last time I talked about 4 years of college in reference to criminal justice and figuring out early on in your college career by doing the 4 years whether you want to go into law enforcement or you want to take another route in the law enforcement pyramid. I want to reiterate that just because you're a criminal justice major does not mean you have to be a police officer. There are many dynamics, dimensions in the criminal justice field. You don't have to settle for being just a police officer. And in this episode, we're going to go over juvenile justice, 4 years of college, because I'm trying to figure out a good reform for policing. I'm trying to think on both sides, the policing and civilian mind frames. I'm trying to come up with ways we can be better policemen, how we can be better in our criminal justice field as criminal justice people. So I'm going to be speaking a little bit more on the 4 years and why I believe that should be a big part of police reform. And then I'm going to go over a little bit more in detail juvenile justice because, like I said, there's different dimensions to criminal justice, and juvenile justice is one of those dimensions. So bear with me, I'm going to do my best. Back to my juvenile. I went and did an internship at a juvenile detention center. I learned a lot about juvenile delinquency. I saw how they were incarcerated. I saw the different little things they had to do for the juveniles while they were in juvenile detention. Not jail, not prison, juvenile detention center. So that's where I really learned that these kids do not understand criminal justice. So when I say that, I went to 4 years of college, right? Mm-hmm. I learned all these things. Well, I didn't get to go to college until a little bit later in life, right? So I didn't get to learn all about this.
Not much though, but...
Well, yeah, but by the time I'm 13 years old, I have enough sense in my head to know right from wrong at 13. At that point, I'm 13 years old. I better have known right from wrong at this point.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is later in life I learned the criminal justice field, and to be honest, it was too late in life for me at the age of 18, 19 to really get into the nitty-gritty of criminal justice. I think we need to hit the kids way sooner when they're like 13 and say, okay, you're in 7th grade now, you're required for school in 7th grade to take a form of criminal justice class and introduce to them criminal justice and all the different categories, because in 4 years I learned way too late where I wanted to be in the criminal justice, but it helped me understand crime, the consequences. And when I went to the juvenile detention center, I realized when I was teaching these kids, they had no idea about any of the crimes they committed. They did not understand why they were in trouble, that they were committing crimes, let alone, they knew they were doing something bad, but they're like, well, we're just kids.
What do they think? Their parents should just put them in timeout kind of thing? Call the police, let the parents handle it? Is that their mentality?
No, I think these kids realize that they can get in trouble. But you have to understand, if you have a 13-year-old kid, it just depends on the crime. More than likely, my point is this: kids are ignorant.
Adults are ignorant too.
Yes, but kids, if you reach, how do I want to say this? We can scream advocacy all day. I'm sorry, but in 4th grade, little girls get the period. Little girls get the period movie. Did you not get the period movie in 4th grade? I had to go to the period movie in 4th grade. I had to go with all my little friends when we were girls to the 4th grade seminar, and we had a movie on what a period is. A menstrual cycle?
We didn't get that.
Well, we had to have it. And in 4th grade, we had the period movie. Okay, so there you have it. So what I'm saying is in 7th grade, they need to have a criminal justice class. Because now they're getting older. Okay, they're starting to be teenagers at this point. Alright? But remember, they know right from wrong. But guess what? They need to be educated further than right and wrong. Oh, that's wrong. Oh, good job. It needs to be like, listen, these are the crimes. This is what happens. This is the court system. They need to understand that they can be put in a children's jail. It's just considered a juvenile detention center rather than jail. Jail is for adults. But it's the same thing. When you walk in, so this is what I learned at that internship. When they go to the detention center, they are treated as if they were an adult as an adult goes into a jail, they're treated just the same. So they make you take clothes off. They make you take a shower with lice, and they put you in a cell. You're basically in a kid's jail. They just call it juvenile delinquency. So what I learned by doing that was that these kids, so I every week I'd have a different group of kids. I'd have like all girls, and then the next week I'd have the littler boys, 11-year-old boys, up to 17 that I'm teaching. Littler boys to the big boys, because they separated the littler boys from the big boys, but they had all the girls in one group. But I was surprised at how many girls were in there. But that's why crime is higher now in this time, because women are committing more crimes than they did back in the day. Women are involved with gangs more nowadays, and women are not staying at home and cooking, and we don't have all that anymore. Women are as confident and as tough and are respected to the level of the highest man in a gang. You can have a female highest gang member. Like, that's the queen of the gang.
Queen Bee?
Like, serious.
That'd be a good rapper name.
So that's why crime is up. But crime is also up because kids are committing more crimes. See, back in the day, juvenile justice was this. And this is why I really respect how far juvenile justice has come, because this is why I learned in the 4 years I went to college. I realized I was more of a juvenile justice person than a click, that type of person. I was more of a, okay, you've been clicked, let's fix the situation so we don't get clicked again. So we don't have reoccurring for them to go back. So, hold on. So I realized the only way to figure out this situation with juveniles, because crime is up, because juveniles are involved with crime more. Okay? Juveniles are in a lot more gangs now.
Do you think it's because the moms aren't at home cooking and being the housewives? Do you think that influences it? Or what have you seen?
Yeah, I think juveniles and their environments are very important, because they, you know how intuitive kids can be. I mean, I've seen very intuitive 1.5-year-olds. So they get to a point where they start to understand what's going on around them and remember the right from wrong. So at the age of 13, let's say you come from an environment that's gangbanging, robbing, stealing, your daddy takes you down the street, throws you in 3 windows of a home, says grab all the jewelry, and now you're 8 years old. Your daddy's teaching you, he's throwing you in windows, you're stealing from old people, whatever. I mean, it's bad. Okay, your daddy's got you out in the streets at 8 years old, whatever. Well, what happens is now they're 13. Now they get this class in criminal justice. Because at the age of 13, more than likely you're going to be charged as a juvenile delinquent and put in the detention center, more than likely, for your crime, okay? So, let me finish this thought. So, when they get to be 13, it's time for that criminal justice class, because when they have that criminal justice class, they're like, wait a minute, my daddy didn't tell me that robbing houses was a crime like that. I didn't realize I could, wow, that's pretty, that's not good. So then they start being like, okay, okay, so then they start kind of questioning some things, like, okay, what's going on in my home life? Like, why would my dad teach me how to do that when I'm clearly, so they're now educated. They're educated, because at 13 years old, I know it sounds crazy, 13-year-old can start to make decisions, okay? Don't think for a second a 13-year-old can't make serious decisions on right and wrong. Now, are they immature? Yes, but I believe a 13-year-old can start making good decisions. Yeah. As long as you start ingraining them. 13, you can do it prior. But remember, 13 years old is an important year, because this is where they can be incarcerated. From here on out, as kids and adults, from 13 on, they get in trouble, it's bad, they can be incarcerated at a juvenile detention center till they're 21 years of age.
Now, do you think peer pressure has a lot of play in that? Because aren't you more easily persuaded as a 13-year-old than a 21-year-old, what do you think?
Yes. Yes, and that's why they teach bullying. So I think criminal justice would just be an addition to what they already teach in bullying. They like advocate on drugs, and what is that? No drugs. Say no to drugs. Dare. Yeah. Do they still do that?
No, I don't think they need to.
Well, I know that schools will. No, you know what? With criminal justice, you can add all of that stuff that we just talked about.
Substance abuse kind of thing into
bullying, what bullying is.
So put it all together as one under a criminal justice idea.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be a criminal justice class. You got like home economics, social economics, it could be criminal, whatever they want to call it. But it has to have to do with the different types of crime, property crime, sexual offenses. Okay, let's be real. In today's society, 13-year-olds need to know what that's about. If their parents don't like it, that's fine. Then maybe they need to have like a permission slip where the kid can take the class, because some parents may think that that's too young. But the last time I checked, there are 11-year-old little boys that do engage in sexual activity with littler kids than them. Okay, 11-year-olds are able to engage in sexual activity with younger and or older people. Okay, so by the age of 13, well, that's no matter where you go or no matter where you go, what you do, there's always going to be peer pressure.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, you could go to this school and then go to this school. It doesn't matter. It's the same way. It's the same. You're gonna have it, especially if you're gonna have friends. Yeah. So if you're, which is normal. So if you're gonna have friends, you're gonna have peer pressure. But here's the thing. A lot of peer pressure starts at the age of 13.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. So at the age of 13 mark, this is where we're really trying to get into the nitty gritty. We've done the little kid stuff. We've done the gaga goo goo long enough. Okay, we've done the, hey, we should be past the tantrums. We should be past the, I don't want to do my homework. We should be past that. We should be getting into a different level of adolescence. That is why I'm saying it. And here's the thing, if you go to a private school, then that private school needs to come up with a way to present it. Yeah. To present it that is in their own realm, but it needs to be presented in some way, shape, or form. Mm-hmm. I mean, if there's, and a public school can come to that conclusion too. it has to be given and twerked and tweaked. If they were to put it in schools now, it's not going to be a perfect class. Okay, it's going to take a couple years to really get to what curriculum of it is useful, is educational. Can we throw this out? Can we use this? But we need to educate these kids on a different level than it's different society from when I was a kid. Detention. Okay. Well, nowadays you destroy a classroom, you're getting property damage charges, which gets you into juvenile detention. Okay, which gets you into children's jail. There is, if this was a classroom and a kid destroyed everything in the classroom, I would say the school would probably press charges.
Yeah.
Now, who's going to pay that back to pay for that classroom? Who's going to pay it?
Taxpayers.
The kid's parents.
Oh, the parents will?
Do you understand? So the kid, in order for the parents to pay for it, sometimes they have to incarcerate the kid to, in a court order the restitution for the money to pay for the damages that their child did. So does it come back to the home? Yes. Okay, you said, do the parents take care of it? How do you take care of it like at a private school environment? Yes. So basically what I'm trying to get at is, I don't know about you, the last time I checked, if my mama's got to pay a $3,000 restitution fee to my school because I destroyed the classroom, that's a home issue as well. That's called, suck it up, buttercup, you're walking through the door, I'm going to give you a good smackaroos on your butt. Sure am. Alright, but that's the home thing. This is the thing. Yeah, you know what? At that point, as a mom, you had to pay $3,000, and your kid had to go to jail. You had to go to court. You had to get him out. You've got a lot of money now, okay? But that kid probably didn't think, oh man, if I destroy all of this is gonna happen. He thinks at 13 years old, oh, I destroy this room, it's game over, because they haven't been taught that if you destroy enough property that costs this much, $3,000 in property, you're probably going to go to the juvenile detention center because that's a lot of money and damages.
Yeah.
Okay? So we need to teach them in 7th grade, hey, you destroyed $500 worth of property, you're probably going to be detained and taken to juvenile detention center.
When they are taken to the juvenile detention center, they're charged like an adult, you said, right? They get the same treatment?
Yes, they are taken into the jail just the same. So you have to strip naked, you have to take a certain kind of shower, you're given a jumpsuit. It's exactly the same, it's just on the facility is different. Oh. The facility.
Now,
process is remotely the same. Yes.
If I'm 13, commit an offense, get put into juvenile detention center, now I'm 30 trying to get a job, is it going to show up under my record that I went to juvenile jail?
At 13?
Yeah.
As far as I know, there is this term called expunge.
Yeah,
which means supposedly kids think. Okay, let's remember, let's keep this in mind. I don't need to even look it up, I already got the answer. Even if it did. The age of 13, let's say you are. Like, it's not murder or anything, but you were charged with, I don't know, you stole the neighbor's car and went on a joyride around the block, okay? You ran into a tree. So now you were charged, maybe they charge you with property damage, but the car wasn't injured. And the guy's like, you know what? I don't want to press charges. He didn't damage the car, but the kid did damage that guy's yard. He screwed up the grass. He ran over the flower bed. Okay, the car's not damaged. The owner doesn't want to press charges, but this guy's pretty pissed off. he may say yes, he may say no. Now, probably if it's a 13-year-old kid, he's probably not going to. But let's say the kid damages the car, runs into the tree, runs into this guy's house, and he's 13 years old. Alright? So now the car is destroyed, the house is destroyed, and yeah, the kid's 13 years old. Well, now he's 30, and he goes, and they're like, hey, you know, like, it may not show up because he is only, now if he was 16, it would show up. 17, it would show up. But even if it did, hey, I see in your criminal record you stole a car when you were 13, and like, what's that about? Like, what'd you do? Because I'm sorry, if I'm looking at a 30-year-old man and I open that up and I'm like, you were 13 years old, I would think it was a kid issue. Like, dude, you know, I would think of it as a kid mistake.
Yeah.
I would kind of chuckle. I'd be like, what? That's crazy, you know? But at the same time, it's not. It's serious. But I don't think it would be held against them for that. Mm-hmm. However, if it's a malicious crime...
Yeah, I knew that was going to happen. I was kind of laughing.
That scared me.
Fix it.
I didn't like how you looked up in the corner. The answer is, can the crimes you do as a juvenile from 13 on affect your life in the long run? Yes. Kids think that they are exempt from that, and they're not. Especially if the crime they commit is pretty bad. They can, at the age of 14, a kid can be charged as an adult based on the heinousness of the crime, the maliciousness of the crime. And once they're in the adult prison system, they stay there.
Yeah.
They don't go back to juvenile. From there on out,
they even get taken to an adult jail?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So,
do they keep them separate from the older?
They probably do.
Yeah.
Yes. I don't know. I've never been there. But what I learned by going through that internship is that's where I belong. And that's why I think it's important for police officers or for that college, that little bit of college going on before they become police officers. It allows them, when they're going to school, to develop a lot more book education, because a lot of their education is going to come from the in-field experiences. Okay, so what they do outside in their job, in their field, is going to be just as much learning and curriculum as their book stuff would be. But this helps develop what it is you want, because like with me, I figured out, I don't want to be a cop. I thought for a long time, I want to be a cop. And then I was like,